you know, I think a lot of times breeders think, oh, I'm gonna have this litter and people are gonna pay for puppies and I'm gonna make some money. I was prepared for normal expenses.
Yeah.
And I was prepared for an emergency. I was prepared for a C-section or, you know, some emergency during whelping. I was not prepared for...
Last time I was in the Bay, I got to sit with my good friend Mahogany Gable. Aside from her array of accomplishments, she's got a heart of gold. We talked about everything from breeding to mentorship, the secrets of the dog training industry, and what it's like to live with 5 malinois. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation as much as we did.
Like, how? Like, how do you exist? Because you were a dog walker, or well, before that, paramedic, right?
Yep.
Turned dog walker, turned trainer.
Turned corporate manager.
Turned dog trainer. At some point, you became a dog trainer,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Then got into sport, right?
Yep.
And started a club, then started multiple clubs, then competed your own dogs, then captain of the world team.
Yep.
Yep. Then this is Mondio, by the way.
Yeah.
For those of you guys, Mondio. Captain of the world team. Judge, right?
Yep.
Training now.
Yeah. Participant on the world team.
Participant on the world team.
Yep.
Participant. Fucking A. Participant on the world team. President of USMRA currently.
Yeah.
Fucking A. And I'm sure there's like other shit that breeder.
Yeah.
Like how? How do you have time to do all this?
I don't know.
Like how did you do all that? I feel like I only met you like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you weren't any of it. Well, you were a paramedic before I met you, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I think I took a fast track because of my mentor.
Okay.
So Lisa Mays was my mentor, and she gave me, especially in sports. I had another mentor for pet dog training. Actually a few, but 2 that I consider really my mentors that taught me how to do this on a more effective level. And this Lisa just fast-tracked me through the sports stuff. I mean, I did form our first club. It was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so that was just me and Lisa.
Yeah.
And, just deciding to get into sport. She took me to a bunch of trials. And Beforehand.
Okay.
She took me to a bunch of trials. Mondio Ring was the one trial that I watched and my eyes lit up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this?
Right.
And actually, I think maybe you weren't at the first trial. You might have been at the second trial that she took me to.
Okay.
And that's when we met. It was at...
Sharon Novak's?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think that was the first time I met Lisa.
Like, okay. Yeah. So at that point, I had been working with Lisa for at least 2-3 years.
That was a little while ago.
Yeah, I think that was like 7 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And she had taken me to PSA trials, French Ring, IGP, Schutzen back then.
Yeah.
But everything, and Mondio was the one thing that just caught my attention. So I'm the type of person, once I commit to something, I go all in.
Yeah.
And I love the sport. I love the organization. And so over time, it's natural for me to start thinking like, okay, how can I start giving something back or helping?
Yeah.
So that's why I started to get more involved, joining the board, becoming a judge, things like that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have happened as fast if Lisa wasn't with me for a lot of that. I think I would have moved much more slowly.
So then give me like an idea of how, like, I know you said you explained the results of having that kind of mentor, right? But like, what was like the impact on you personally, like having someone like that who did whatever she did to kind of fast track you, whether like she did it through like introductions or whether she did it through like inspiring you, like what was like the effect on you, like personally?
Sure. It's a difficult question. It's a little bit more of a challenging question to answer because she has since passed away. So
Yeah.
so actually like the effect is significantly greater because of that. But she did introductions. We went, I didn't know any decoys.
Yeah.
We went around, we tried to find decoys actually so when we first started looking for decoys, I didn't even have a dog to work. So I had started with my dog, Kaio. Kaio was clearly not a bite sport prospect, but Lisa wanted to get back into sports with her dog, Hottie. And so we were going around and looking for decoys to work with. A lot of people didn't respect her, I think, just as a woman.
Okay.
And so she was like, you should learn how to decoy. So that was the first thing. She was like, buy a suit, and even the little things like, well, what is a suit? Like, where do I get a suit? What kind of suit? Like, she helped me with all those things. Mm-hmm. And then she helped me understand what I was watching, what I was seeing when I was watching decoys work. Okay. She helped me a lot with sport style obedience. So coming from pet dog training, that was one of the most challenging things for me. Yeah. Is, we want to do good pet dog training, but the caliber is a little bit different than in sports. The detail, the nuance, there's a lot more. And Lisa was really good at breaking that down. So it was a little bit of everything, teaching me the sport, the spirit of the sport, the introductions. We spent a lot of time together. She ended up becoming one of my best friends along this process. So it was everything. Nice. And Lisa had a lot of experience, with Malinois. I mean, that was another thing is, I look around now and I see a lot of people with Malinois, but they don't know how to raise Malinois. Right. And that was one thing that she started to show me very early on is, what makes these dogs tick? Yeah. How capable are they? And how do you maximize that capability without letting the dog become out of control? Yeah, yeah. So it was, she gave me, when I say we spent a lot of time together, at one point, after she passed away, I looked back at a calendar and I realized for several years when I was really detailed in my calendars, we spent about 300 days a year. Oh, wow. Yeah. We spent a lot of time together. For many years. Oh, wow. Wow. Like that is a lot of time. Yeah, it was a lot of time. We just had fun together. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. That's good. So then just to piggyback on what you just said about Malinois, what's something that you feel like people don't understand about the breed? Like something that would make a lot of people's life a lot easier if they just understood this piece about the breed? I think the one thing I would say in my experience is for Malinois are relatively easy to motivate past many of their quirks. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people look at Malinois the way that they look at other dogs, where when little quirky things. So first of all, I think Malinois have more quirks because we're trying to stuff so much capability into one little being. Yeah. And so I think that people try to address a lot of those quirks with sort of pet dog. Like management? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of management, sometimes some suppression. And I find that Malinois are more easily motivated through things. You can play through a lot of things. It's not even necessarily food. It's like utilizing their strong desire to bite to help them get through things, but doing it in a safe way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that would help a lot of people to understand because I see people taking all these different paths. And now what I see happening in sport dog training is trainers want to lay out 10 different paths. And it's, now everywhere I go, I see people with their Malinois and they have 20 cues for how to go get food, right? Yeah. You get food this way with this word, and this way with this word, and this way with this word. And there's so many. And I'm like, it's overcomplicating something that for these dogs is very simple. And so I just feel like they have a fairly simple path forward. I've raised a lot of Malinois And I've seen that
Yeah,
as a through
I saw
line.
like 4 or 5 of them just pour out of your vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just walking barefoot through the park
Right.
with 5 Malinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a little wet out today.
Yeah.
I would normally be barefoot though. I like to get my grounding in while I have my dogs out. So
I mean, we are in Northern California,
yes,
so
yes.
it's okay.
I'm just a hippie,
Yeah.
just like everybody else here.
Yeah, it's fine.
But that's the one through line I've seen with all of the Malinois. They've all had their own little things.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of like Malinois and the drives and like the intensity and all the stuff that we are typically trying to cram like into them when we breed them, do you think there is a limit of usable potential, and then after that it's just too much? Like they have too much energy, too much drive, too much intensity?
Definitely there are Malinois out there that I think there's so much that even the dog cannot keep it all clear, right? Their brains are significantly simpler than ours. And when information and when information and emotion becomes jumbled for the dog, where the dog cannot even discern what emotion it's in, then I think we have a problem. Another thing, and this is probably not where you're expecting this question to go, but one of the litters that I bred, some of the puppies had a neurological
I was going to ask you
issue.
about that actually.
Yeah. And so it's still, I don't talk about it that much because UC Davis is still researching it. They don't have any clear answers yet. And I don't like people jumping in with their own ideas when even UC Davis doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
But one of the things is the geneticist, I guess that's what she is, the geneticist was telling me that in the last 3 years, so this is a very short amount of time, she herself has discovered 4 other neurological issues in Malinois. And she was saying that's scary fast. And I think it's because we are trying to manipulate so many things in dogs, in the Malinois, in that specific breed. You know, I hear people say, well, they can't have white on their chest. And then so you're trying to get all these qualities, but then you're trying to manipulate this one other thing, right?
Right.
You know, well, we don't want dopamine dogs. That's the new thing everybody's saying.
What the fuck does that mean?
It's like we don't want dogs that are so cracked out and driven by just anything that gives them a spike of dopamine.
Okay.
You know, we don't want dogs with curly tails. We don't want this. We don't want that. It's like, you know, we need off switches. We need this. We don't want spinning. It's like there's so much manipulation. And sometimes we think that we're manipulating things through selection, but I don't think it's always that simple.
Nature has her way.
Nature has her way.
Yeah.
And I think when we try to manipulate too much, nature has her way, right? And nature's like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah.
Back up.
Yeah.
So I think it can be dangerous. And then we have a lot of people breeding Malinois that really don't know what they're doing. I put myself in that category. So I had Lisa. The reason I started breeding Malinois at all was because Lisa wanted to breed her dog. She's a breeder. She has a kennel. She had the experience. So I was very open to helping with it. And after she passed, I realized, like, without the close mentorship, you can get into a space where you're like, I think I know what I'm doing, and what I'm doing makes sense. But it's just like anything, like you don't know what you don't know. And the more I talk to very experienced breeders, the more I realize, like, wow, I didn't even think about that because I don't have the experience. I don't have the background. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. To the point, can you tell me something about that experience with breeding that litter that haunts you, right? And then also like the lesson that you feel like you may have learned from that.
Sure. I think the thing that haunts me is the fact that we did all the testing that was available. We did all the health testing, hips, elbows, we did spines, embark, everything that we could think of, A22, all of that was done. And we still had an issue, a very significant issue that affected basically half the litter. That haunts me because, again, we think we know a lot. We think we have a lot of information, and I don't want to say that we don't, but sometimes, as you said, a lot is not enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. You know, I think as far as whether there was anything that I could have done differently, the one thing I will say is that I needed more money to run into that problem.
Oh.
So I had, you know, I think a lot of times breeders think, oh, I'm gonna have this litter and people are gonna pay for puppies and I'm gonna make some money.
Mm-hmm. Yes. How's that actually go?
Yeah, that does not work out that way, right?
Yeah. How's it actually
So
go?
I was prepared for normal expenses.
Yeah.
And I was prepared for an emergency. I was prepared for a C-section or, you know, some emergency during whelping. I was not prepared for 5 puppies with neurological issues. And so I was very lucky. UC Davis took an interest, and because they took an interest, I got a lot of discounts. But not everybody has a UC Davis 45 minutes away. And because they're a research hospital, they weigh, you know, do we turn this person away because they don't have enough money, or do we give them some free or discounted services because for the sake of science, it'll benefit us ultimately.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say, like, you know, that I would do differently is be a little bit better
scientific
prepared.
Pioneer on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so that's the thing is the reason. So I don't even remember what it's called now. When I had the litter and we were dealing with it more closely with UC Davis, I knew the names of all the neurological issues that had popped up in Malinois.
Yeah.
But there's so little science because most people just cull those puppies.
Right.
And so I am definitely adding scientific pioneer because I went through I did the work. Went through the process. I did the work. They're running full, you know, gene, whatever you call it, gene sequencing.
I'm way dumber than
gene sequence. They're doing gene sequencing on that entire litter. Because I was able to, with the help of the owners, and I had a lot of people help just babysit wobbly puppies. Everybody pitched in and made sure that we could get good blood samples to UC Davis. I took that entire litter to UC Davis every single time that they asked me to.
That's incredible.
And it's gonna be worth something, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
it's pretty cool, man. You do.
Yes, add that to my CV.
Yeah, add it to the list of things. I mean, I don't. How? I'll keep reiterating it. I don't understand how. Okay. So you said something that I thought was interesting.
Uh-oh.
So you said, unfortunately, the dog training world has really complicated what dog training and dog raising is all about. What do you mean by that?
What did I say? I think that dog training, you know, there are a lot of nuances to dog training, and I look at dog training as a per dog event. That said, I think that people, and no offense to people, I understand marketing is the game, but I think that there are a lot of trainers that complicate things to make themselves relevant, and it becomes more about them than the dogs. And so dog training is fairly simple.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have their own system though. And everybody wants their system to be newer and better than the next person's, but nothing's new, everything's recycled. And if we were okay with that, you know, there's so much ego in dog training that doesn't need to be here. Yeah. We all should just be helping the dogs. To me, that's all. That's the long and the short of it. Let's help the dogs as best we can. We don't have to have new systems. You know, 5 systems, they change the words, but when you really look deeply, it's all the same. It's all the same concepts. So And I think that makes it difficult for people because people think that they have to, I teach a weekly Mondio obedience class. And one of the participants at the last class, she was like, it's so hard to know who to listen to. Like, whose stuff is going to work? It's like,
Yeah.
all of our stuff is going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, even when we were talking about that seminar, that I just went to, like there's still a big part of me that went there looking for the secrets.
Yep.
Like, what's the fucking secret?
Yeah.
And the more I listen and watch, I'm like, there is no secret.
No.
There is no secret. It's just at the end of the day, it boils down to clear communication, good management, and consistency.
Yep.
And if you have those three things, the rest of it it's easy. Like you get the results if those things are in order. Now, like how you go about communicating, how you go about managing, like there's different techniques and all that stuff. But I think at the end of the day, unfortunately, folks, there is no secret. To accomplish like all the things that you've accomplished, did you ever experience any, or do you experience any imposter syndrome?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So, imposter syndrome, I've realized that imposter syndrome, for me, I'm sure it's different for different people. For me, it only comes from paying attention to what other people are doing.
Interesting.
As soon as I stopped paying attention to what other people were doing, it went away. And so you had messaged me a while back and you were like, where'd you go? Because my social media presence really backed down.
Yeah.
And that was a part of that. It was just me being like, if I'm not looking at what anybody else is doing, I can be free. If I'm looking at what someone else is doing, then I'm like, do I know as much? Am I way more behind? Am I this? Am I that? And I think that women have been encouraged to have a lot of imposter syndrome by different influences.
That's
and it shows up really significantly in women, and we're constantly, but it's more natural for women to compare ourselves to others.
Social commentary sidebar. The fact that you said that, I think that makes a lot more sense as to why now you are seeing a lot of like this talk about like men or young men being very insecure and not doing well, because prior to social media, we really, like, men didn't really have other men or things to compare themselves to, because all the magazines, all the media stuff was like geared towards women. Like if it was a guy magazine, like it's more masculine, it might be geared towards like traditionally masculine things like hunting or whatever. And you're not looking at other dudes, you're just looking at gear. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you're looking at fucking like a bow, and so I think now that's interesting. Just sidebar, probably has nothing to do with this, but yeah.
No, it has everything to do with it. A friend of mine and I were talking, we've been talking over the last couple of weeks just about social media and how fake it is and how it can, build all these pictures. It can create this entire world where, if all you're looking at is social media, then you think like this person's the best trainer on the planet and this person's the worst trainer on the planet. And you get all these impressions and none of it is real.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really.
I've seen I don't follow dog social media as much as I used to. I think probably for that reason, because I just felt like, I think witnessing people's social media representation of their training and their dog, and then actually seeing their training and their dog in person, made me go, nah, that's kind of like sure, you know, but and so it kind of it jaded me a little bit, because I think I had some frustration around, like, and I'm sure a lot of trainers feel this way, like I feel like I actually do good work, right? And in me doing good work, when I see people who are getting a lot of recognition when they actually don't do really any work, much
Right.
less good work, right? They're
Right.
not putting their hands on dogs on a daily basis, maybe their own dog.
Yep.
For the sake of a video, right? There's a lot of like useless things that people are showing people, like, okay, you can lure your dog, you can get the dog to heel with a ball, but in the absence of the obvious direct reward, like how does the dog perform?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, I I totally feel like I separated from social media for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, you hit the nail on the head with, you know, in the absence of the reward or the collar, then what does the dog do? So one of the things I realize is, because what's important for me is how I live with my dogs every single day. What kind of life do I give my dogs? That's what matters to me. I
Yeah.
couldn't care less. Like, of course, I want a dog that's going to also do well on the field. But what I care about is everyday life. And so you saw earlier, I can take all my dogs out. I've got one of them that'll not behave well with that kind of energy. But I can take my dogs out, no collars, no
Barefoot.
tools, barefoot with my chucking stick. And I, because of how I raise my dogs, I know that even though it's a group of malinois, they're going to be safe. They're not going to terrorize dogs. They're not going to terrorize people. They are going to listen to me within reason,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
not always.
They're still living, breathing things, and they have
Yeah.
their own feelings and opinions.
They're for sure less responsive out at a park than they would be on the field. On the
Sure,
field,
sure.
we have all this context.
Yeah.
But out here, they're going to be less responsive. But guess what? They're going to be well-behaved dogs. And I can go and watch somebody do the most incredible obedience, and they may be able to focus heal their dog through a storm. But without the reward, without the collar, they cannot have a full life with their dogs. And that's what I care about. That's going to be different for different people. Not
Yeah.
everybody has to care about that.
Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody who doesn't care about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But that's what's important to me. And you can't see that in social media.
So what do you think the dog training industry from a professional standpoint, but then also just like from a human standpoint is like missing? Like what do you think, what's out there that you think like trainers just don't get, like dog owners just don't get?
Well, what trainers don't get and what owners don't get, I think, are two different things. So I think
let's do trainers first then.
so. The answer in the first part of your question, I honestly think humility is missing.
Okay.
I think humility is missing more than anything. Because of social media, everybody wants to look cool and
Yeah.
good, and that lack of humility and honesty, it's way too easy for people to be dishonest now through social media. So those are the things that I just see as an industry. You know, when I talk to friends in various sports, it's not even just Mondio Ring. It's like, this person was so, this to me, this person was so that to me. So there's a lot of interpersonal issues because there isn't a lot of self-reflection and there isn't a lot of humility. So that's for that. I think that is sort of the affliction of trainers, personally. Like, I think a lot of trainers are skilled. They're skilled, they have good information. It's the interpersonal things that get in the way. When
They
it comes,
prevent collaboration, or
yes.
like, okay.
Yeah. And
Just
there's just I hate using this word, but there's just a lot of fake shit. There's just a lot of, and it's like, but why?
Fake shit is a very broad encompassing. Seriously, it's like a very broad thing. So like when you say fake shit, you're talking about like the things that people say is fake, and the things that people do is fake, the information that people put out there is fake. Like what do you mean?
All of it.
Okay.
All of it. People are not presenting themselves as they are. They're presenting themselves in some way that they think people want to see, but they're not just being raw and real and genuine. And to me, that's a huge problem because it definitely doesn't allow for real connections. And I think we could do the best work for dogs if we make real connections. And I don't know if people are afraid to be judged. Like, I don't care about being judged, you know? I've shown my ass on many a training field, many a trial field. Like, I don't care.
How did you get to that point where you didn't care? Have you
I don't
always
know.
been
I
that
don't
way?
know. I think I've always been that way.
Yeah.
I think I went through so many things as a child. I played a lot of sports growing up, and I think it's like you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're really on point, you have a good game, everybody cheers you off the field.
Yeah.
And other
What
times,
sports did
like,
you play?
I played basketball, I played softball,
Okay.
I played volleyball. I even played badminton, believe it or not.
Okay.
Like, if there was a
Okay.
sport available, I played it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been on a lot of teams. I've been on a dragon boat team.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like I'm a
Add that to the resume.
I'm a collaborative, team-oriented person.
You have lived a life, my friend.
I
You
have.
lived a
I
life. That's
have,
very
and I'm
cool.
gonna keep going.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's fucking cool. You have this this air of like comfort and confidence, and I think you connect really well with a lot of people. You can move through different networks of people really well, really seamlessly. And I'm just wondering, like, you, as a woman, and period, right? As a woman in dog training, even more, as a like black woman in dog training, like you've had to come up against some very just shitty situations, right? I don't really know how to like
Sure.
how to define it. And I don't want to, I don't want to impose an experience upon you, but like I would imagine you've encountered some pretty challenging things. Like, so how do you remain comfortable, confident in your own skin to kind of do all the things that you've done, and in a lot of cases not always get the credit for all the things that you've done?
You mean none of the cases?
And and kind of just like, and just be like, yo, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is gonna get deep.
That's why we're here. That's why
This
we're
is gonna
here.
go to a place where you definitely are not expecting it to go.
Okay.
So I had my gallbladder removed when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
I had really severe gallstones. We had no information on health back then.
Yeah.
And so the doctors were like, well, it just needs to come out. Took it out. I happened to be on the adult floor of UCSF because the pediatric floor was overcrowded. So I'm in a lot of pain, and they're just giving me morphine, giving me morphine, giving me
Damn,
morphine.
that kind of pain.
That kind of pain.
Morphine pain.
They gave me too much morphine. And so my mom had gone home to shower. She comes back and she's like trying to get my attention. Well, I'm not breathing. I'd stopped breathing. They gave me so much morphine. So mom hits the code blue button. All the doctors, nurses come in. They realize, oh shit, we gave this girl too much morphine. And so it's easy to reverse. They gave me some Narcan, I'm sure, is what they did. And I'm fine. But for me, it wasn't a near-death experience like a lot of people talk about, where they see the light, and I saw nothing. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, for all you wondering how it's gonna be like on the other side, it's just dark.
Yeah. I don't think my heart stopped. I literally think it was just too much.
Yeah.
Right. And my mom came literally just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
So I spent several days in the hospital recovering, and people coming in and out, and I reflected on a lot of little experiences I've had. A time I almost
At 15?
yeah, like a time I almost drowned. A time I was like walking down the street, and a kid fell over on his bike, and so I went to go help that kid up, and this humongous glass vase like fell out of a window. And I was like, if that kid hadn't have fallen, I would have been right underneath that glass vase. Like, that would have killed me. I was riding my bike to school one day on a really foggy, like, I grew up in San Francisco. The fog is unreal. I almost got hit by a van that didn't even see me. So like I'd had all these experiences and I spent time in the hospital reflecting on those things. And I was like, for some reason, I'm supposed to be here, right?
Yeah.
Like I could have died today.
Yeah.
But mom came back right in the nick of time.
Oh.
When I talked to my mom, the reason she went back, she wasn't even finished at home. She was still packing new clothes and doing this stuff. And something told her, get up right now and go to the hospital. So the universe just had all these ways of like protecting me. So I'm like, there's a reason I'm supposed to be here. And I was like, what is this reason? And I realized
sit here at this table.
To sit here at this table and to talk about scientific pioneerism, right? So, but I realized like it's to help people. That's what I enjoy more than anything else. I'm not that motivated by anything else. I really am not. And it's just who I am. There's nothing else to it. It's not complicated. So for me, I always go back to, but I like helping people. Does it suck? Like I get in my feelings sometimes if, like I've done 2 years of foundation work on a dog and then another decoy takes over, because this happens all the time, right?
No,
another decoy takes over, and then everything is like, wow, look what they did. It's like, yeah, just fuck the 2 years.
Yeah. 2 months turns into 2 years. Yeah, it's really great work.
And I'll be hurt about it for a little while, and then I'm like, but honestly, it was fun helping them. While it lasted, it was fun helping them. Yeah. So that's the way I recover.
I need more of that energy, like it was fun helping them.
Yeah,
them shit on me.
It's not. I'm like I believe me. Like I have my feelings. I'm not immune from that. But it is easy for me to go back to like, but that maybe the next person won't do that, and I get what I want out of it. And for me, if it was, some people are motivated by money, right? And I've thought of it that way sometimes too. Like if you're motivated by money, every time you help someone, you get paid.
True.
Even if they screw you afterwards, like you still made the money. Yeah. For me, the motivation is helping someone. So I'm getting what I want out of it. It's helpful for me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel valuable. It makes me feel like, yeah, the universe has kept me here for a reason. And I just go back to that. After all my butt hurt.
After all your butt hurt. Dang. That is that's really cool. That's pretty admirable. Yeah, I will try to look at the world that way. I enjoy helping people too. I think I've been told before that I was too nice.
I would agree with that.
That I'm too nice? Yeah. Yeah. And probably I am, I think it's a little bit of people pleasing, but again, like I get that. Yeah. I enjoy seeing people like happy and enjoy helping people through problems. I think because I watched my mother help a lot of people. And that was just kind of the way that she existed.
Nice.
So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's a good perspective. Maybe I'll start incorporating that a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
Daily. So what part of your journey do you wish more people knew about?
That is an interesting question. Damn. I don't even know how to answer that question.
Well, answer it in the spirit of like trying to help people, right? So like, I'm sure there are people who have had or are having similar experiences than the experiences that you have or have had. So like, what's something where you're like, oh, like I think sharing this could potentially help someone?
That's something I honestly like. I have to think about that.
All right.
Because
and that just means we have to do a follow up.
I grew up Buddhist, so it's an interesting. The Buddhist organization I grew up in was an interesting one to grow up in because you may have it flips the way that I look at situations and things that happen. Like, how do I find something valuable in every situation, even one that was on, you know, by all intents and purposes, it was a negative experience. So I've shifted so many experiences in my life because I spend time reflecting on that experience and how it was valuable to me. So it's like I'm trying to think about something and I'm like, but is there any part of my journey? Like there have been so many things, but I'm like, but at this point I feel honestly so resolved about each of them. Like that is the thing I would impart to someone, is like, especially in the you know, dog sports world and the dog world, as a woman, as a person of color, like you're gonna have some challenging experiences. But the one thing I can say is there's another side. There's value in those experiences, even if that value is creating something on your own. Like Lisa, you know, like we had terrible experiences going and trying to find decoys to work her dog. Like she was trying to find somebody to pay to help her, and everybody slighted her and treated her like shit. But that became an opening for me. She's like, well, why don't you become a decoy? And then she started teaching me the basics. And so had we not gone through those things, then it never would have led to now. Decoying is one of the most fun things I do in life.
Yeah. And you're very good. When are you going to certify? And you could be a certified decoy, fucking president, a judge,
I don't know.
like the trifecta, right?
You know, here's the thing. Here's the thing about certifying.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you for real.
Okay.
For real, for real.
Okay.
First of all, I don't want to do that run. I'm just gonna be real, okay? I don't want to do that run.
One run.
I don't want to do that run.
It's one little run.
But the second thing,
You don't even have to be that fast.
the second thing though is, like, when I watch you, you are very good at being a training decoy and a dog's friend, and you're very good at being a trial decoy and a dog's foe. And when I try the faux role,
yeah,
dogs don't believe me. Okay, like
you don't throw it on in training at all.
I try. That's what I'm saying. I try.
Yeah.
I try to throw it on in training, and of course, those are dogs that know me. But I want to show them pictures. I want to show them some.
Okay.
You know.
Let me tell you the secret. You can't impress dogs that you work on a regular basis.
Sure.
They know you.
Right.
You can't impress them.
Right.
When you work other people's dogs, when they pay you to work their dogs, when you work other people's dogs, that's when you test that stuff out.
That is the secret.
That is the secret. And so you catch other people's dogs, you show the dogs things. I mean, you don't break them.
Yeah.
But you show the dogs things so that you can see, like, okay, what you need to do to kind of impress the dogs.
So I can't, like I would have a difficult time doing that because my whole foundation is like, you know, you're the friend, I know. But when I was a paramedic, we used to do standby all the time, and we do standby for movies. And so sometimes they will say like, hey, we need you guys in a scene. Okay. This happened to me on 3 different occasions. I was supposed to be in 3 different movies as a paramedic.
Okay.
I got cut out of everyone because I could not stop smiling. And they're like, you're a paramedic.
It's serious. Someone's dying.
Like, you're a paramedic. And like when I was a paramedic, I guarantee you I wasn't running around smiling.
Yeah.
But the acting thing, like you know, that's my dream, is to you know, be in some musicals, but like it's not gonna happen.
Wait.
It's not gonna happen.
All the things you said, that shit was the most. My dream is to be in a musical. Okay, all right.
I think, you know, I'm very happy with my role, building dogs, helping build programs. I feel really comfortable now with you know, a Mondio program, and helping build that for a dog and helping them feel good and getting them ready. And
it's good.
Yeah, I don't want to do that run. So
you said what?
I don't want to do that run.
You got to do the run. Gotta do the run. The run's nothing. The run's nothing. Like you could literally train for the run like for like a month and you'll be fine. The run's nothing.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, the run's
Yeah.
nothing. You'll be fine. Can you walk through a little bit of your process for selecting a dog for a sport?
My process is very different than anybody else's. I just have to like the dog.
He chose
And
me.
you know, so I'll tell you the dogs that I have that I kept.
Yeah.
So Remy was a little shelter dog. I showed up at the shelter. They were like, "We're gonna bring this puppy into the room," and I'm, you know, like, and I'm like, it's a malinois, right? Like he could come over and tag me.
Mhm.
Like, don't know what we're gonna get. He came over with his little wiggly butt.
Yeah.
And like just jumped up like he had known me forever. Loved him, kept him. Lexi is from the first litter that Lisa and I bred. You get crack up when you hear why I kept her. I liked all of them. I wanted a female because I didn't know. I wasn't sure how Remy would do with another male.
Okay.
And I kind of had a little emotional connection with Lexi.
Okay.
Yellow collar puppy at the time. And then one day, it was their first day eating solid food. She looked up from the bowl and had a face covered in food. And I was like,
you're like, that's my girl.
She's the one.
That's my girl.
Stasia, I was not going to keep a dog from her litter.
Mhm.
I was really determined not to.
Yeah.
But she was something else. Like,
She is something else.
she is something like, she was something else. Like, she just had so much fire and energy and just her attitude,
and
everything.
You were like, what is it going to be like to fucking harness this?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so for me, like I was talking about before, it's really important for me that a dog fits in with my everyday life. I want to enjoy them and their personality. I want them to fit into my daily life. I'd rather have a dog, like Remy was a dog that was not that strong on the field. He's an absolutely perfect dog for everyday life. And that mattered to me more than
dad bod now.
Yes, now with his dad bod. Everybody told me not to keep Remy. And, you know, but when I say everybody, that's on a field. But everybody off the field was like, this dog is fucking great. And he is. Nice. So my process is not the same as most people. Most people are looking for certain qualities. Definitely for Mondio Ring, I want a dog that's a little bit of a natural problem solver. You know, the dogs are, obviously I'm gonna keep a dog that's gonna bite, that can take some pressure, but I want environmental stability. And a dog that's a natural problem solver. Those are the big things that stick out to me for Mondio Ring in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just gotta vibe.
Just gotta vibe. Okay, and then final question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next? Like so much, you got so much on the plate. Like where else is there to go? Like,
yeah.
Like.
Well, I'll tell you right now. So Lexi, I retired from Mondio Ring, and now she's doing PSA.
Okay.
So we're about to enter the PSA world. Stasia is just starting her French ring career.
Okay.
And then
Have you trialed yet?
We did one trial.
Okay.
She was in standing heat.
Okay.
She decided not to out.
Got it.
That day.
Got it.
So
that was for your brevet, or
that was she has a Mondio brevet that was a French ring one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to get what I'd like to do. So I'm still learning the French ring annual cycle and all of that, but I'd like to get her one by summer is my goal, and then at the end of the year go for the two. So that's what I'd like to do with her. And yeah, just I want another Mondio puppy, and after that, I may create my own sport.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
For that.
A little blend of all the things.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd sign up for that.
You know, I love so many elements of all the sports.
Yeah.
You know, French ring. I love
No
the
IGP
work.
in your future?
I'm not a, I would say, detailed enough sport trainer for IGP. I've definitely been interested. I thought about doing IGP with Lexi. IGP, it was IGP or PSA,
Yeah.
and PSA was more accessible. But, and also like Lexi's Mondio obedience, it's good and clean. We've had some perfect scores in obedience, like it's good, but it's not IGP obedience.
Yeah.
So, but I like elements of everything. And, you know, I wonder if you blended some of that, which is kind of Mondio foundations, right? A little bit of French ring, a little bit of Belgian ring, a little bit of, so yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, in the future, not while I'm Mondio president.
That's probably a good idea.
But well before becoming Mondio president, I thought about doing a different, like creating a sport, an American ring of sorts.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was.
This was fun.
It was.
Hopefully we got the audio. If not, then it was just fun.
Just a good conversation.
Yeah. On video. I'll send it to you if it doesn't have audio, then you can just look at it and be like, I think this is what we were talking about. You know?
I'll have to go find some good lip readers.
Yeah, for sure. And just do fucking
subtitles. Yeah.
Just be like, the whole video is recorded in like French. I mean, I don't know. Those people are weird.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. I didn't get a chance to thank Mahogany on camera, so I will thank you again. Thank you again. If you guys want to get in contact with Mahogany or find out more about her, you can follow her on IG, Mahogany Mig. I'll leave a link in the description and I'll post it down here.